Hello, my name is Joyce Arbick, and this is going to be my first blog. And what I'm going to discuss with you, I'm going to give you some money-saving tips and ideas for your small business. We're going to try to save you money, time, and stress. I've run small businesses for basically 30 years. I've had many different types of businesses. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the things that I've done to save myself time, money, and stress. Because as a small business owner, you just have so many things to do, and you're so busy, and you're being pulled so many different ways that we tend to overlook some of these things. And by doing that, we're working harder to make money to pay for things that we don't have time to take care of and address, and so we have to make more money to pay for our losses. And so I'm going to try to bring to you things that I've learned over the years that help me save time, money, and stress in my small business, so that the money I make, I can keep more of that money. And that's the whole point of having your own business, is to be able to make a nice living and have some time for your family and friends and yourself. It's a very difficult thing to do, but I'm going to try to teach you what I've learned that helped me. And now this is my first one. It's going to be a little bit different. So today, my idea is if you can, to just introduce myself to you and give you at least one good money-saving tip. Now, I've run restaurants, had construction company, air conditioning, refrigeration business, had commercial service company. I've consulted with different types of business, cleaning service, harness shop at a racetrack, pizzerias. So I have a pretty extensive knowledge in different businesses. These are for small business owners, that person who's wearing many, many hats. Now, if we had a big business, we'd have lots of money to pay people to help us. We wouldn't have to worry. But that is not the way it is in small business. And if you've never been in small business, then these tapes are going to be very informative to help you decide if you're really ready to do a small business. It takes a special type of person to get up every day and go out there and fight with everybody. You're fighting the government, you're fighting your employees, you're trying to figure out a way to get your customers in the door and keep them happy. You're trying to do the marketing, you're trying to keep the place running. If you have a physical establishment, you're trying to keep the maintenance up. And you're trying to do all this on a very strict budget. Most small businesses fail. So I'm going to hope that this information is going to help you so that you won't be one of those statistics. First thing I want to talk about is just routine maintenance. What I found talking to many business owners over the years is they're so busy that they tend to put off routine maintenance, and this costs them a lot of money. And one of the main expenses we had in the restaurant business was air conditioning. I'm down in Florida, so air conditioner is critical. If you're going to have customers come in and sit down and eat, and it's 90, 100 degrees outside. So you have to have an air conditioning system operational, and it's very expensive. Likewise, if you're up north and it's in the middle of the winter, if you don't have heat, you probably got the same problem. Customers are not going to want to stay inside of your establishment. And you're paying a large chunk of your money each month to the electric company or the gas company, whichever it might be. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your air conditioners or your heating units have clean filters. Filtration is very inexpensive over the scheme of things. but it can save you not only money to run your unit more efficiently, but it can actually give you extended life on your unit. Think about it. If you took a cloth and you put mud all over it or dirt all over it and you put it up against your mouth and your nose and you tried to breathe, it's going to be pretty hard to get some air through there. And you're going to have to work harder to do it. And that is effectively what happens to your air conditioning or your heating system. If dirt gets in there, or the filter gets clogged, or you don't even put a filter in, you just let it run, that unit has to work so hard to breathe, and it decreases its efficiency, decreases its lifespan. And these units are very expensive to maintenance and to replace. So something as simple as changing your AC filters or your heating filters on your heating units can save you a lot of money. What I found in mine, I had 3 5-ton units, and I just had a small place at that time. And what I found was to use not the most expensive filter, because they tell you it's going to last this many months and this many months, and it does not do that. Not in the environment we're working in. In our environment, I had a pizzeria, sit down, about 60 seats, serve beer and wine, all home cooking. Well, you have a lot of oil vapors in the air. You have a lot of dust in the air from the flour. And that gets on those filters, and you can forget it. They are not going to get that much time out of them. The best way to do it in your business is once a month. So buy a filter that's not too expensive and replace it every month. And some companies try to sell you these big old filters about 6 to 8 inches high, and they're going to tell you they're going to last a year. Well, let me tell you, in your business, you might get 60 to 90 days out of it. It is not going to last longer than that. And you're paying anywhere from $50 to $100 for that one filter. That's after you spend $400 to buy the assembly that attaches to the unit and have that put in. So just stick with a medium price filter, under $10. Change it every month faithfully. This will protect what they call the A coil up inside of your unit. Because if the dust and dirt gets past that filter, it's going to clog your coil. And if it does that, then you're going to have to bring in an air conditioning guy or a heating guy to clean it. There's no other way to get that dirt off of there. It's got to be cleaned. Now you can clean it yourself, and that's what I learned to do. I learned to maintenance most all of my equipment. As a small business owner, I couldn't afford to call somebody in every time one little thing broke down. So I learned to maintenance my own equipment. And you might want to do the same. There are a lot of good books out there that will help you. The manufacturers of most of that equipment have technical numbers you can call. You can get parts breakdowns. You can get instructions. Simple, basic instructions. There's nothing fancy about this equipment. Some of the newer equipment have electronic pilots and things like that. So when you get to that stuff, you might have to have somebody come out, unless you're good with some voltage meters. So maybe your husband or your friend is good with that. They can come in and diagnose it. You can obtain all the information you need from the manufacturers to help you with this stuff. So, but basically we want to stick to this one tip today. Change your AC filters. Likewise, inside of all your refrigeration equipment, you will have a condensing unit, which looks like a mini radiator with all those little fins on it. You do not want those fins to get pressed down. If they do, that restricts the airflow across those coils. That reduces the efficiency and makes the unit work harder. Again, that's like putting a cloth over your face and blocking the air and trying to breathe. They do sell, you can go to a parts store and you can buy what they call a comb. And it'll comb those fins out and straighten them out. It's a tedious job, so you want to protect those fins. That's important. You can buy chemicals that you spray on to the radiator, to the condensing unit. And what it does it foams the dirt out of the center. And that's a good way to clean that. You want to clean those regularly. You want to have routine maintenance to keep those clean. So your air conditioning equipment, your refrigeration equipment, you want to keep filters on them. What I do is I go buy a cheap filter down at Home Depot or Lowe's. Just cut out the size that you need, take some paper clips, and put it right on the front of that condensing unit. And change it regularly. But make sure when you first put it on that you've cleaned that condensing unit so that at least you start out with a nice clean. Then as long as you change that AC filter. And do not use the foam ones. They do not work in an atmosphere where you have oil with dust. It becomes gunk. And it gets in there and it just blocks it. So you do not want to use the foam. You want to use the regular filters that have the, what do they call that? Well, whatever. The regular AC filters that have the strands in it, the fiberglass. You just cut it to size, lay it on there, and put some paper clips to hold it in place. Then you can come by once a month and just take it off and put a new one on. Cost you a couple dollars. And you have a lot of refrigeration equipment inside your shop or your business. Most all of us have some kind of a commercial unit. Whether it's just to hold soda or we're a restaurant and then we have maybe 10 different units. We have freezers, but you need to protect those condensing units. You need to maintenance them. Likewise, you want to make sure that preferably once a year you have somebody come in and do a maintenance on them. And if you do it right in the middle of the winter or right before their season picks up, you can get a better rate on that because they're not as busy. So they'll be glad to come in and give you a better rate just to keep the work at that time. They're going to check to make sure your Freon in the system is up to par. There's no major leaks. And when you have them do that, if you have a problem and they have to work on the system, make sure they put a sight glass on the system. Then you can see at any time by looking at this sight glass if the antifreeze, the Freon level is good. Because it will have bubbles in it if it's leaked out. You'll have air in the system. And that's a very inexpensive way to help monitor your system. Again, if it's running low on Freon, it's going to work harder. It's going to be inefficient, and it's going to decrease the lifespan of your equipment. The key in your business is to get the most mileage out of your equipment, keep as efficient as possible so you're not spending all your money on paying for electricity to run it, or gas or oil, whatever its source of fuel is. If you don't keep your equipment efficient, you will pay in many ways. Not only will the customers be inconvenienced, you're going to lose business, it's not going to be reliable, but you're also going to pay the money to the utilities company. So you have to be smart about your equipment. So the best thing to do is put a plan in place, make it a simple plan, do it consistently, and you don't have to do it all. You just need to make up the plan, implement it, and then oversee it. And it will save you a lot of money. It will save you a lot of stress, so you don't have, in the middle of a Friday night business, when you're busy, at the peak of your business, a failure. And now you're trying to deal with your business, keep it running smoothly, and then you have a total failure over here, which is going to cost you a lot of business. People are not going to stay in an environment that's not comfortable. So that's my big tip for today. And this is the blog I'm going to start. It's called Business School of Hard Knocks, because that's what it is. I've learned from reality, harsh reality, been in the real world. I've experienced it. I've done it. And I have been up and down on that roller coaster for 30 years. And anyone out there that has been in business a while, they know that they love to quit sometimes, but something inside of us drives us. We're entrepreneurs. And it's something about that particular type of person that they face all odds and they continue to push through and struggle. They just don't want to give up. And they make it through the good times and the bad times. And they always have hope that there's going to be the good times. So I'm hoping that this information will help make your day a little bit better, save you some money. Why pay it to the electric company? Why pay it to the maintenance guy to come in and say, hey, if you just changed your filter, you could have got another 2 years out of that unit. And that's what I'm going to try to teach you here with this. Something very simple ideas to help you out. What I'd like you to do is, if you have any questions or anything you'd like to talk about, just go to my site, businessschoolofhardknocks.com, at the Small Business Information Store, and write your comment. I'd love to hear from you, and hopefully I'm going to be putting out 3 or 4 of these a week if I find that people like them and they're finding them useful. Again, my name is Joyce Arbick, and thank you for visiting with me today. And I hope that you'll share what you want to hear with me.